Good evening. I have the time as 7:35, and I will call this public hearing and regular business meeting of the Mayor and Council for the City of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, December 13th, 2021, to order. We do have a quorum present, and we'll start tonight with the invocation by Reverend Dr. John Murray.
Thank you. We've just come through Thanksgiving, and if you're like me, you don't know who's going to be at your table the next year. It's such a special time in the world, and I want to thank all of you for your commitment and your desire to make Snellville the place that people want to live. And we remember also those who have lost their homes in Kentucky and Haiti and Afghanistan and all over the world. We are very grateful for the first responders and all who were providing care in institutions and at home. So I'd like to read from a book that is very special to me, and it draws on the Christian, Jewish, and Muslim traditions. Let us pray. In lives where love has been born this day, thanks be to you, O God. In families where forgiveness has been strong, thanks be to you. In nations where wrongs have been addressed, where tenderness has been cherished, and where visions for earth's oneness have been served, thanks be to you. May those who are weary find rest this night. May those who carry great burdens for their people find strength and comfort. May the midwives of new beginnings in our world find hope. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Murray. And now we'll have the pledge to the flag led by Stephanie McDonald.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Stephanie. We have no ceremonial matters, so we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the November 8th, 2021 meetings and the November 20... I wasn't on, was I? Motion to approve the minutes of the November 8th, 2021 meetings and the November 29th, 2021 special called meetings.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. We have no invited guests or committee and department reports, so we'll move to the approval of the agenda, and I believe we'll have several amendments. Is there a motion?
Okay, motion to approve tonight's agenda with the following changes. Under new business, going to add item G, consideration and action on a resolution of GTIB road project. And we're also going to add item H, which Dave is going to read.
Motion to add ordinance 2021-23, adoption of updated speed zones as required by the state of Georgia, and to put the second reading on a specially called meeting for December 20th.
So we have a motion by Christy and Dave. Can we do that? Guess so.
Or do we need a second?
And then we need a second.
Second? Oh.
We got a second by Gretchen. So we're making a motion to approve the agenda, adding items G and H All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. We have nothing under our public hearing tonight and no consent agenda or old business, so we'll move into new business. First item is, first two items, we're nominating council appointments to the Snellville Tourism and Trade Association. So we have post 3, I'm nominating Jared Eakins. He's a current member of the board, so he would be a returning member. He is my nomination, so I ask for council's confirmation. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. And for the second post 5, I nominate Stephanie McDonald for the council's seat on the board. That's my nomination. I'm asking for council's confirmation. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. So congratulations, Stephanie, new to the board. Now we have item C, consideration and action on award of bid for the South Crestview drainage improvement. Butch, do you want to give just a little background on that?
This will be a public-private project where the developer is footing some of the cost for needed stormwater infrastructure at South Crestview and Summit Chase. This infrastructure will allow somewhere around $50 to $60 million of new tax digest to be built in that area. This stormwater project is needed. It will be paid for, our share will be paid for out of our stormwater capital funding, and I'd recommend that this contract be awarded to the Dickerson Group in the amount of $125,100 and allow the mayor to sign the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve awarding the bid for the South Crestview Drainage Improvement Project and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract with the Dickerson Group in the amount of $125,100.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Next, we have item D, consideration and action on approval of Briscoe Park Pool filter replacement. Butch, you want to talk about that too?
If anybody ever goes to Briscoe, I don't know how many people went as kids, but we have an awful lot of kids over there in the summer at our Briscoe Park pool. It is one of the only pools that still has a diving board remaining, and it is a big, big attraction. Last year, that pool generated well over $40,000 in income for the city. And of course, you have a pool that is almost 50 years old, and you have a filtration system, which is also that age. We have tried to piece it together and repair it and keep it working, but there are, when something gets that old, it's hard to find parts, it's hard to find valves, and so we solicited cost proposals, and we are recommending for the total of $36,000 that a replacement contract be issued to Positively Pools, who manages our pool on a daily basis and takes care of the maintenance also, for new sand filters and an awful lot of parts for our filtration system. That is a staff recommendation to award the $36,000 contract to Positively for the work at the pool, so we can be ready to go for the 2022 season.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. With that explanation, is there a motion?
Motion to award the Briscoe Park Pool Filter Replacement Contract to Positively Pools for the amount of $36,000.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Now we have item E, consideration and action on Resolution 2021-10, moratorium on Snellville shareable dockless mobility devices. I'll just give you a quick update on this. We had a moratorium on, these are for the scooters, the motorized scooters that you see around Atlanta and some other cities. And we had previously had a moratorium, and that expired in August. We didn't have any businesses that were even nosing around about it, but we recently received a request from one of the companies to come and drop scooters here in the city. And obviously with the town center under construction and we're really not prepared for anything like that to happen, we are going to impose another moratorium for 12 months on these scooters here in the city, should this resolution pass. So with that explanation, is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2021-10, the moratorium on Snellville shareable dockless mobility devices.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Now we have item F, consideration and action on surplus of police vehicles. We have 4 vehicles, a 2009 Chevrolet Tahoe, a 2009 Dodge Charger, 2013, and 2008 Dodge Chargers as well. Is there a motion?
Motion to surplus the police vehicles as listed by the mayor and read by the mayor.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. These are vehicles that are either at the end of their life cycle or have been damaged or wrecked, and so we'll sell those out on the government website. So with that, all in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. So those vehicles will be listed out and sold. Now we have item G, resolution, I don't even know what this is. Resolution to allow the mayor, resolution 2021-11, resolution of, to provide. No. I'll read this out, the heading. Resolution to provide the local funding for a Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank, which is GTIB, grant application for North Road at Wisteria Drive intersection improvements. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the resolution of financial support for GTIB road project, specifically North Road at Wisteria Drive.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
What we're doing with this resolution, since we did just add it, we needed to go ahead and get this done so we could get our grant application in. We're looking at some road improvements at North Road and Wisteria Drive to add some dedicated turn lanes in that intersection, which will help traffic immensely. It's one of the steps that we're taking to help ease some of the congestion that the town center will bring, and some of it that was already here. So we need to get this grant application done. That's why we added it to the agenda tonight. We do have a motion and a second, so anyone or all in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. And then we have our last item of business, the first reading for resolution to approve the updated speed, whatever we're doing, speed zones. I'll let someone else handle this. Anyone want to add that in your motion?
Yeah. Motion to approve ordinance 2021, adoption of updated speed zones as
It's
required
supposed to be a first wave.
by the state.
Oh, we're not approving. It's a first reading.
First waiving, that's right. Motion to waive first reading of ordinance 2021-23, adoption of updated speed zones as required by the state, and put it on the agenda for the December 20th specially called meeting for a second vote.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, and let me just explain briefly what we're doing here. Every 3 years, the city has to send to the state to have for approval the streets that we will run speed detection devices on. And we did that in August. I think we approved that and sent it down to the state. They just made a change in their rules that we needed to also include the speed detection where in the school zones. So we had to, we need to update and amend the resolution that we previously passed or the ordinance that we previously passed to add those streets where the speed cameras are for the school zones. So that's what we're doing here tonight. And again, this is something else that, because it's an ordinance change, we have to have 2 readings on. So we are doing the first reading tonight, and then we're doing a specially called meeting next Monday, December 20th at 4:30 to vote on the second reading of this resolution so that we have this done by December 31st. Our next regularly scheduled council meeting would be December 27th, and we weren't planning on having that with the holiday. So we have a motion and we have a second. So all in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. And that ends tonight's business. So we will now move into council reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Solange Disdain.
Good evening, everyone. It has been such a long time since I have seen you. Hope that everyone is doing well. I want to share a few items in my report. Some of you have expressed in the past that the city is getting dark due to malfunctioning or outages of our city lights. I'm happy to report that after 3 years, we are slowly seeing the city light up. Our city manager, Butch, along with his assistant, Matt Peppers, joined me in touring our city to get a better gauge of where the burned-out lights are. I'm happy to report that we are meeting with a representative of Walton EMC so we can continue brightening our city. In the meanwhile, if you notice burned-out lights in our city, then please report the problem online at Walton EMC. It's also a good idea, if you can, if it is safe, to go ahead and mark the pole for daytime workers. Just a little reminder that the Snellville tax bills for real estate and business personnel properties are due on or before December 15th. After December 15th, interest is added each month to the base amount. Additionally, a penalty of 5% will be applied to all taxes that remain unpaid after 120 days. Each subsequent 121 days will incur another penalty of 5%. So please, everyone, if you have not paid your city taxes yet, then please do so in the next 2 days. On this note, I also want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year 2022. Quiero desearle a todos una feliz Navidad y un prospero año nuevo. Ik wil jullie allemaal een vrolijke kerstfeest toewensen en een gelukkige nieuwjaar. Mike desea turgende a kinanang un bon y feliz Pascu y un prospero año nuevo. Mi wan wensi uno, wan sweete kerstneti, nang wan gelukkig nieuwjari. So everyone, I just wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in the languages that I speak. Enjoy the holidays, everyone, and get home safe tonight. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Solange. Councilmember Linsky? Sorry. Or maybe
Well,
I was just mixing you up. Councilmember Warner?
Oh, well, if you want to go in a different order, it's the mayor's prerogative. It seems like it's been quite a while, but back the Saturday after Thanksgiving on November 27th, we had the Christmas tree lighting and the parade. And I was honored to lead the parade in my ratty old truck, decorated up with Christmas lights. And the purpose behind that was we have 2 gentlemen from the Snellville area that actually went to South Gwinnett High School. One graduated from South Gwinnett, the other graduated from Shiloh, that were on Shark Tank this fall. And their company's name is Sparketh, and it's Dwayne Walker and Tim Samuel. And they wanted to participate in our parade. So I gussied up the old beast, and she made it through the parade. I was very, very happy about that. But their company does online art courses for students that are homeschooled, or like my son do online school for other reasons. And they had a great pitch, and they really want to be involved with the city of Snellville. Over the last 10 years, we've done a Shark Tank using students from all the area high schools that come in and pitch their business ideas, and the business teachers at the various high schools help the children with how do you start up a business, how do you get a business license, all those sort of things. So Tim and Dwayne said that they'd be ecstatic to help us with that going forward, and we wanted to make sure to show them some good old Snellville love and show them that we were proud of them. So of course we put them in my ratty old pickup truck. But it was great. The Christmas tree lighting was, I'd say, the best ever. Thank you to Kelly McAloon, who put on the whole shindig with the help of all of her magical elves. I see a bunch of them out there in the crowd. Kelly was not feeling 100%. She had a hip replacement, and it was very interesting having Kelly not be 100%, because she gives 100% on everything she does, and I want to salute you, Kelly, for the awesome production you put together while on pain meds. Also, last month in a specially called meeting, we, because of Thanksgiving, I did my monthly donation to Let 'Em Eat. For those of y'all who are new here and haven't heard about it, we have a local charity that provides food, made meals to people who are in need. And one of the things I do is donate part of my salary every month to make sure that they're able to continue that work. And I ask you to look in your wallets and in your hearts, and if you can find money to support those organizations that are out there doing the work that is so necessary, especially this time of year, please do so. Have a great and Merry Christmas. I only have one language to say it in, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Todd. Councilmember Linsky.
Brian, could you start my PowerPoint? I want to take a moment to share some of the photos that were taken on Saturday for Snellville Youth Commission. This is such an important program for our city, and to reach the youth engagement levels that we've been able to with this particular group of volunteers and students is absolutely amazing. We're changing lives with this program. A couple weeks ago, we were able to do a construction site tour, and the students got to put on hard hats for the very first time. Really open their eyes to some new possible careers for many of the young women in particular. And here you're actually seeing some of the holiday celebration and what you're seeing the students work on. I wanted to share that with you. We were able to draw some funding together to purchase each of them a vision board kit, which comes in a box, makes a great gift if you have a teenager in your life that is difficult to purchase something for, that's unique and reflective, and it has several writing prompts in it, and the students will go through, you can kind of see them working on it in some of the photos here, and they're reflecting on some of the vision goals that they want to set in their career, relationships, self-love, style, adventure, education, creativity, spirituality as well as prosperity. So they basically choose quotes, they have visuals, and they're creating one of these boards that they can place somewhere near them and keep their eye on the future. So youth engagement, leadership in so many levels, and I really appreciate Mayor and Council's continued support for the Snellville Youth Commission. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Christy. And now we'll go to Councilmember Schultz.
First of all, I'd like to start by offering my congratulations to Jared Eakins and Stephanie McDonald. I think we already know Jared is a very valuable member of the Stat Board, and I'm very confident Stephanie will add a lot to that board, a lot of creativity. So I'm thrilled that they will serve in that spot. Last week, I and a couple other council members participated in Shop with a Cop, and to me, that's one of the highlights of our Christmas season. The counselors at Britt Elementary identify students that are not likely to get many Christmas gifts, students that are in need or foster children. And the Snellville Police Department comes out in force to Walmart, and each student has an amount that they're allowed to spend. They have a gift card that I think this year it was $170 per student, and each student is assigned to one of the police officers, and then those of us that are members of the Snellville Citizens Police Academy accompany them to and help them choose gifts. I went around with a young lady. She was probably about 12 years old, I think, but she was taller than I am. And we picked out pants and jackets and shirts and a pair of boots and a pair of shoes, as well as a couple of toys. She was just overjoyed to get the items that she got that night. And I just think it's a wonderful project of the police department and the Snellville Citizens Police Academy. I did want to express thanks to Kelly McAloon and to Jessica Manis for the Christmas tree lighting. I know this was a hard year for Kelly to do it, but it was just a spectacular event and so well attended. I also wanted to mention the Snellville Tourism and Trade Association Christmas tree ornaments that have been on sale. There were 250 ornaments made. I shouldn't say we, because I attend the meetings, but I'm not on the board. But 150 were ordered to start with, and they went so fast that another 100 had to be made. I think from what I hear, there's maybe about 25 left. But if you want one, they're available in the lobby here in the building during business hours, but you better hurry if you want one, because those 25 will not last long. So I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you, most of you, I guess, next year, unless you choose to come to our specially called meeting next week at 4:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen. Mayor Pro Tem Emanuel.
Thank you. We live in a special community that I think a lot of times we lose sight of. We've been promoting gifts to the Southeast Gwinnett Co-op for a number of years, and I have an unusual experience because we'll go to an event and somebody will win something and they turn around and give me the money and say, give it to the co-op. And this past week, Kurt Schultz did exactly that, and it was not an insignificant amount. It was over $300 that he won, at the Christmas party, turned around and said, "Here, give it to the co-op." And those are the kinds of people that we have in Snellville. And in spite of his reputation for being grumpy, Kurt always steps up when it's time to help somebody, and everybody really appreciates that. And with that in mind, keep in mind that this is a bad time of year for a lot of people, and after the first, it's even worse because people give up through the holidays and then forget about it. And for the co-op, the hardest time is in January because the donations drop off. So keep that in mind. If you can spare anything, they'd sure appreciate it. And Kelly wants a Christmas tree. Is that
Public comment.
You can do that in public comment because I don't want to step on your toes on that. And, you know, you're like Todd. If you don't have a chance to speak, it'll be terrible. So have everybody have a happy and safe Christmas and New Year's, and especially New Year's. If you go out, just be safe and be aware that some drivers aren't paying attention like they should because they have other handicaps that have happened immediately prior to their getting in a car. So just keep your eyes open and try to be safe.
Thank you, Dave. And a few things on my mayor's report. Last week, we held a topping out. Was it just last week? It seems like 2 or 3 weeks ago. We did a topping out celebration for the parking deck. The top floor has been installed, and now it's just a lot of internal and utility work going on there. But we wanted to celebrate some of the milestones. Once we do the initial groundbreaking, I think it's important for us to keep sight of the progress that's being made as things go. We'll be doing January 11th. We've got set for groundbreaking for the library building. They've actually gotten the slab poured for that, but we're going to do a little groundbreaking ceremony on January the 11th. So watch Facebook for updates on what the time will be on that. But we are moving along with our projects. We approved the road project for improvements around the streets around the town center. We did that last month, so that construction will be kicking off sometime in January. So this is truly a construction zone, so just be aware if you're traveling through that area. I would also like to convey my thanks to Kelly and Jessica and the whole Tourism and Trade Association Experience Snellville. I said it right this time. For the tree lighting. It was really a great event with the parade, and you know, with us everything coming back now from COVID. It was great to see so many people out and so many smiles on so many faces on that night, and weather turned out beautiful for it as well. Just a note on the Festival of Trees that we have going on. That's what Kelly wanted you to talk about, Dave. We have quite a few organizations that have set up trees here in City Hall, and you can vote on your favorite trees by bringing in food or cash. Donations work, and you can vote on your favorite trees. Now, St. Oliver's Church typically wins this, but I've heard this year Britt Elementary was giving us a run for our money. So I would love to see another organization beat St. Oliver's this year, because if they do, our food collection totals would be huge. St. Oliver's usually collects between 6,000 to 8,000 items, I think, the last couple of years. So if another organization comes in on top of St. Oliver's, I know we will have done some good for the co-op. So keep that in mind. You can drop off your donations anytime City Hall's open or during office hours. Or Dave, but make sure you let them know that it goes to St. Oliver's, Dave. I'd also like to congratulate Stephanie McDonald and Jared Eakins for stepping up and serving on the Experience Snellville board. It's always an important position, and that organization does so much good for bringing community into Snellville, and we so appreciate everything that they do. One other thing I would like to note, I was contacted by Tamara Lee Terry. When the Market by Macy's store opened, the managers there let us know that they would do local businesses and allow local businesses to launch products and be able to sell them at the Macy's store. Tamara Lee Terry contacted me to let me know that her product is going to be launching at Market by Macy's this Saturday at noon. So she had wanted to let me know. Hopefully I can get by there. I let her know I've got a full plate on Saturday, but I was going to try to get by. Her launch is at 12 p.m. and I would assume that she'll be there then the rest of the day, but she's launching a new line of luxury candles for her business. Let me make sure I get that right. It's Tamara Lee Designs Lifestyles. So if you have an opportunity to get by Market by Macy's, she is a local Snellvillian, so it'd be great to show her some Snellville love and make her product launch really awesome here in Snellville. And just like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a very safe and happy New Year. Hope you have a lot of plans for the upcoming year, and hopefully they won't all involve COVID. But thank you all for coming out tonight, and that will end my mayor's report, so I will open the floor to public comment. If anyone would like to come and say anything, step forward and give your name and address for the record. Did you want to talk about this, Steve?
I did, just for a quick moment. Kelly McAloon, 2916 Overwood Lane, Snellville, Georgia. First of all, I want to thank you all for recognizing that the Christmas tree lighting was a big success for the city, as our events are throughout the year. But we could not do what we do here without our extraordinary volunteers. For this event, I wasn't able to do physical work. I was more in that director position for days. But it takes a couple days to put the Christmas tree lighting on. We had several people come out. It's very physical. You know, we've got to take stuff out of the storage room that's heavy. We're out there for hours putting lights in the tents, around the tents, and just putting a lot of stuff up. So it's very labor intensive. And unless you're involved in that process, people really don't understand the work that goes into these events. And the people who come out and volunteer their time to help us do that, I just can't thank enough, because we couldn't do what we do without those volunteers. So kudos to everybody who helped us on Friday, Saturday, and breakdown. You know, we did it, and it was exciting, and it was exciting to be done and to have it all clean again. So thank you to everybody who helped and that helped all year. But I did want to mention, I put on the dais, this is our holiday, and I specifically said happy holidays because we're such a diverse community. These postcards are going to be free to the hotel guests at the La Quinta Inn, the Hampton Inn, and the In-Town Suites. And that'll be something that they can pick up and take with them as a souvenir to remember Snellville, to maybe mail out to a family member to say they were here, just as we do when we travel. So I hope y'all like them. I thought they were fun, and we're working on a generic postcard that'll go in the hotels next year. So I know they were excited to get them. So I think that's all I had to say. Oh, no, one more thing, I'm sorry. I want to welcome Stephanie, and we're just so excited that we're going to be able to share time with you on the board for the next several years. So thank you. Kathy's got that little sneaky laugh. But thank you, Stephanie, and we look forward to working with you. And thank you for appointing Jared, too. So thank you. Yes?
Mention that if they make donations to the Christmas trees out there, if it's monetary, it needs to be done online on our website.
Yes.
We only leave products out here, we don't take money.
Correct. So all the monetary donations are on the Experience Snellville website. So just go there and you can donate to any one of the trees. if you don't want to bring a canned good in. So we look forward to seeing each of those trees have a monetary donation. Good? Okay. All right. Well, thank you all, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Kelly.
Just a short one. Kurt Schultz. Thank you, Dave. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that anybody who wants to buy an ornament right after the meeting, we have them available here, and sometimes it's rough to get to City Hall during their hours. So if you want to buy one and have the right $10 in with you, I'll be glad to help you out on that. And I want to thank Kelly so much for, the great Christmas celebration here this year. Again, I don't know how she did it with, having that hip surgery and everything. So anyway, really appreciate her hard work as always, and look to her getting better. And again, looking forward to working with Stephanie also. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Oh, one other quick thing. I just wanted to mention that with the street lights, Nob Hill and Millbrook, we only had one light out. I got that fixed the next day.
Tricia Rollins, 2088 Harbor Oaks Drive. Mr. Sanders, I think I'm the only person in this room that's done a backflip and a reverse off the high dive and the low dive at Briscoe Park. So I appreciate the city taking care of the pool. It was a great source of fun when I was growing up, and I appreciate y'all looking after it. I appreciate Councilwoman Disdain. She's contacted me 3 times to keep me informed about the lights, and that's nice. I don't feel like I'm being ignored for the last 3 years, which it's been, excuse me, I can't talk, which it's been 3 years since I turned in the first list, and we now have 90 to 100 lights out in the city. And I know that Mr. Sanders and Mr. Dang said that they had driven the city and they see the problems. So if you came here tonight on Oak Road, you see that it's dark. That may be because of the construction. The last time they went out, they stayed out for about 8 months, and a storm came through. Walton EMC saw them out, and they clicked back on. I don't know if it's related to the construction or they're just out tonight. But it's dark going down through the construction. That being said, Snellville Pavilion, my favorite place. I'm going to start charging them for landscaping management. 3 years ago, I was here with the fence fell down. They go out there, they put the fence up and put a stick up. Okay, 2 years ago, I was here, complained about the fence being down again, and nothing was done. Now we've got big holes out there in the fence, and coyotes are living out there. Everybody's got coyotes. We can't get rid of the coyotes. But I spoke with DNR, and they said, find where they're nesting, they're digging in. Water source, rodents, whatever it is, they're attracted to the area. That fence, he says, needs to be fixed. If they can't find a place to dig in, they will travel on, okay? I've had trappers out there, and I've had trappers and trackers out there in my backyard and in the woods there. And they told me, they've got it on video, them going in the fence. Okay, that fence needs to be fixed. It's a nuisance, the back of that building, with the paint peeling off of the back of the building. They finally fixed the banging of the metal against the back, and the trucks, thank y'all. We have no trucks. Not that, I mean, everyone, every once in a while we have a truck, but about 8:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, they dumped the dumpsters, and my neighbors were like, did you hear this in the middle of the night? And I said, yeah, that's what I was hearing right behind my window. So we've gotten that fixed, and I appreciate that. But now we got coyote problems. And like I said, you can't stop the coyotes, but we can make them fix the fence, if you would. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins. We'll get that fence issue right on over to the attorney. See if we can attack it that way. State your name and address for the record.
Yes, Debbie McCreary, 2345 Burlington Lane, Snellville. I've never been to a council meeting. My first, my neighbor brought me. But I was just wondering, and I don't know how to go about this, about how is human trafficking addressed here in Snellville? Because it's a very large, it's one of our greatest crisis in our country, and not only our country but local. And it's I heard the lady speaking about the hotels in La Quinta. There's a lot of human trafficking in hotels. Is there awareness in the city? I would love to maybe meet with you and speak to you about that, and the chief of police. Because we can no longer hide from it. It's in our schools. It's from babies on up, and I know it makes people nervous to speak about it, but I would love to know how to go about speaking to you guys about that.
Okay, why don't you see us after the meeting? If you can just stay another few minutes and we'll make a connection.
Okay,
I know Todd Warner has done a lot of work in that area. Because it's an issue too with the rental properties and Airbnbs.
Yes.
And he's kind of been heading up our efforts in that area as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
You can sit at the front.
Todd used to be always sitting at the back of the meetings. Stephanie McDonald, 1957 Tanglewood Drive, Snellville, Georgia. I just wanted to say thank you to Mayor Bender and to Gretchen and the rest of the city council, as well as Brian and Kelly and Kurt. I'm just really excited about serving on the Snellville Tourism Trade and Experience Snellville Board. I'm really pumped to be involved, especially for those who don't know me. It feels so weird talking this way to you guys. For those who don't know me, I grew up in Snellville. I was born and raised here. I graduated from Brookwood High School, and I own Snellville Performing Arts and spend 99.9% of my time pouring back into the youth and the kids that are in this area. And so I do a lot of event planning and all those kinds of things. And so I'm really excited to take that experience and take my love for the city and bring it to the council. So thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public comment and entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Thank you all for coming out. Be safe traveling home.